Let's talk about yesterday. It's not every day that you get two camera manufacturers that are in direct competition with each other release cameras 1 hour apart on the same day. But they did. DJI released their Osmo Action 3, while GoPro released their Hero 11 Black and Hero 11 Black Mini. Both of these cameras are really good, and I can't remember the last time I was this excited to see action cameras being launched. So let's talk about image. The GoPro Hero 11 has a brand new sensor that is 8:7 aspect ratio, which I think is a first in any camera. It can shoot up to 5.3K in 60 frames per second, and it shoots also 4K 120. This is exactly the same as the GoPro Hero 10, so what's new? Well, instead of shooting it in 8-bit, which is what you had on the GoPro Hero 10, you can now shoot in 10-bit. With the DJI Osmo Action 3, there's also a new sensor which is larger than the GoPro sensor, that's a good thing, but it can only shoot video up to 4K, but it can shoot it in 120 frames. So what does all this mean? Basically, the GoPro has better image quality, better dynamic range, and it has a more pleasant looking image in bright daylight. However, the Osmo Action seems to be performing better in low light or at nighttime due to its larger sensor. DJI is also going to give you 10-bit color science, however this will come in a future firmware update. In terms of stabilization, both cameras are really good, but the GoPro might be slightly better. So let's talk about overheating. The Hero 10 had a lot of overheating issues, and the Osmo Action 3 is actually coming out saying that they have 0 overheating issues when you're shooting at 4K 60, and this seems to be proven correctly. It will give you up to 80 minutes of 4K 60 recording before it runs out of battery. It doesn't overheat. The GoPro 11, however, will overheat after about 30 minutes shooting at 4K 60. And speaking of batteries, this is actually where these two action cameras really stand apart. So the GoPro has now switched up to their Enduro battery being the standard battery for the 11 series, meaning that it is more frost resistant and gives slightly better performance, about 38 to 40% better performance than the Hero 10. The Osmo Action 3, however, will let you shoot for up to 2.5 hours, which is nuts. But even better than that is the charging time of their batteries. So they now have fast charging, which allows you to charge 80% of the battery life in 18 minutes, which is crazy. You can also get it with a fast charging hub that will fit up to 3 batteries at the same time, and they will also charge your batteries at the same speed. Some of the other features that I find really interesting with both cameras is how they've solved vertical filming. Like I mentioned earlier, the GoPro has an 8:7 aspect ratio sensor, meaning that you can actually crop after the fact to either a vertical 16:9 or a horizontal 9:16. The Osmo Action 3, however, comes with a small cage, which has quick release mounting for both horizontal and vertical filming. Let's talk about the screen. Now, both these cameras come with a back-facing and forward-facing screen. On the GoPro, the back screen is a touchscreen, while the front screen is just an LCD screen. However, on the Osmo Action 3, both screens are touchscreens. Very interestingly for divers is that the Osmo Action 3 screen is now really good for touching with wet hands. Another really interesting feature of the Osmo Action 3 is that it has a quick switch button, which means that you can very simply switch between modes when you're in the water or out. I love that. However, the most interesting feature of the Osmo Action 3 is the color temperature sensor. The only other camera that I'm aware of that has this feature is the paralens cameras. This means basically that the camera will be performing continuous white balances as you're diving at different depths and different lighting conditions, which should result in much better images. Now, I've had the Hero 10 for 8 months and I actually really love the colors, especially in shallow water, where I don't even think you need to use a red filter to get good colors. However, it's unpredictable. It's not always perfect. Sometimes it's too green, sometimes all the red is gone, and having that sensor will probably improve a lot with just underwater images in general. Now, the Osmo Action 3 can go down to a depth of 16 meters compared to 10 meters with the GoPro. This is mostly useful, I think, for snorkelers and freedivers, as if you're scuba diving, you're usually going deeper than that anyway. Alright, so let's compare these cameras to the GoPro Hero 10 that I've been using for some time. Would I want to upgrade? For the Hero 11, I feel like in terms of frame rates, in terms of image, yes, it does have 10-bit, but I don't feel that the progression has been that big from the Hero 10. However, with the Osmo Action 3, especially with their color temperature sensor and all the other features that we've talked about, it's a really interesting camera. And one thing that I haven't even mentioned yet is the price. The Osmo Action 3 costs $329, which is really cheap for what you're getting. The GoPro, however, is $499, and that's pretty big price difference between the two cameras. So my final thoughts is that I'd probably get the Osmo Action 3. I might actually get the Osmo Action 3, primarily for underwater use. However, if I was buying an action camera that I wanted to use more on land, I would actually get the GoPro Hero 11. So that's my thoughts on these cameras. Which camera are you thinking of getting? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.